Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HG Iron Blood Orphans Rouei. So as always, thank you to MindFenix Hobby Store for sending me this kit to share with you guys. This is a pretty interesting design from Iron Blood Orphans. Season 1 was actually where we first saw this, and when they finally got around to making a kit of this. So I don't know if maybe just, I'm not really sure what Bandai's reason for that was. Maybe they didn't think there was going to be a lot of demand, but then it turns out there was a lot of people like kind of waiting around for that, so they decided, okay, well, alright, let's go ahead and make that kit, or maybe they already had made it or designed it, and then they just kind of changed their mind about actually releasing it, and who knows. Anyway, it's a really unique design with some very unique aspects of it. It's basically a variation of the Hyakuren. It's using a lot of parts from the Hyakuren. If you saw in the unboxing, there's quite a lot, or a substantial amount of Hyakuren parts in there. But it does have a very unique look, but overall the kit itself is pretty straightforward, so let's just get right into it. There are some stickers in this kit. You'll see all these little dots of yellow on there. That's all stickers. But as far as like larger color sticker apps, it does have a few of those, unfortunately, which are pretty large but not really too bad, and they would be very easy to mask, so not really the worst thing there. As far as like seam lines, not really bad in this case, so that's good as well. Some of the design features I really like, some of them I don't really care for so much. But overall, if I had to compare between this and the Hyakuren, I would say which one I like more. There are certain aspects of the Hyakuren that I like more, but certain aspects of the Rouei that I like more as well. So I don't know, I guess it would be the best thing to do would just be like do a mashup between the two. I think that would be pretty cool. That would probably be the way I'd want to go for it if I could. So I don't know, I'll have to try maybe some experimenting with that. So anyway, yeah, just overall really straightforward kit, especially if you've built the Hyakuren. Like I said, all the joints and stuff is all the same, so that part's all pretty simple. The arms are almost exactly the same, just a couple parts different on the arms. And the shoulders are also very similar, but kind of very unique in their design as well. And the backpack, to me, when I see that backpack, it really reminds me of the Shinanju backpack. It's really similar to the Shinanju backpack. They had to have taken some inspiration from that, I think. So we'll take a closer look at all of that here in a second. Let's get a look at some of the articulation. And one thing that I want to point out as well, and I pointed this out in my recent review of the Heikija, that I really liked how they designed the head to fit the stickers for the eyes, and it's the same thing with this one. There's like behind this mask piece, there's a piece, and you stick the stickers on that piece behind there, then you stick the mask over that. And the stickers there for the eyes inside there actually look quite nice, I have to say. The mask itself is kind of weird, and it has like this little chin sticking out, which I think looks kind of goofy, to be honest. So the head, that was my biggest complaint about the Hyakuren as well. I didn't like the look of the head. And the 4 eyes thing is kind of cool, almost has like an Evangelion Unit 2 kind of look to it, but then that chin just really ruins it for me, so I don't know. Anyway, yellow stickers here for the vents, triangles on the shoulders, triangle on the chest. It's all yellow stickers there. Here in the stomach, we're going to have a little bit of movement. It's basically just all at the ball joint at the base. Is pretty much the only place. There's not going to be any sort of stomach crunch really, too much there. The head, did forget to mention this, the head will go up to there, down to there, so pretty good range of movement for the head before it comes off the polycap there. But the range of movement there for the head is pretty good. The shoulders are on the ball joint, polycap that will swing forward just a little bit like that, and then you can also move the whole arm up on there to about there. The shoulder armor doesn't move separately because that's like the upper arm, but it moves separately from this gray piece on the inside. So that does sort of move separately, but you can't change the separation, this like gap here, the separation between the shoulder armor and the arm, because that's fixed there. So anyway, the point is you can bring the arm up to there, just about 90 degrees, which is a pretty standard rotation there at the top, double joint at the elbow, gives you a nice full bend. Here we can see like what on the Hyakuren was like this kind of like piston sort of like looking detail on the top of the arm. That's moved down now here. It's a different part too, it's a smaller part. Moved down there like to the elbow. But it makes a cool little accent piece there on the back of the elbow, I think, so that's pretty cool. Wrist just on ball joints, standard there, and doesn't have any front skirts at all, so nothing really to worry about for those. On these side skirts, these will move up and down a little bit, and with these being kind of similar in shape to the Hyakurens, but obviously much smaller. Basically, the Hyakuren had like these huge side skirts. These are just kind of huge at the top, but then there's not really much to them. So those move around pretty fine. You should have plenty of space to move the legs basically around everywhere you could want to go. So that's nice. The legs can come out and do the full split there. Here's one of my favorite aspects about this kit is this huge back skirt. I really like this giant back skirt on this. It's sort of similar to like a Dom or something like that. So I like that. And just because like from the front, it doesn't seem like it's a mobile suit like that would have a large back skirt. So it just like looks kind of like a normal skirt, mobile suit kind of. And you come around to the back and it has this huge back skirt and it's just kind of cool. And it has this little part here that will flip up where you can mount the weapons to store on the back skirt. Backpack here, these parts will move if you can not totally remove them. They'll move up and down, and then they'll also move side to side there, and then these can open up like that. You can open that all the way up if you want. So here's one of the stickers. This blue color on the top of here, you can see the sticker already kind of like peeling up on the corners there. So that is one of the big color app stickers, this blue on the top of those parts of the backpack. Going down to the legs here, here's the other one. This blue on the top of the thigh here, that's blue stickers there. So as you could maybe just see a moment ago, this hip joint is the kind of swinging hip joint that will swing left to right, like that. Some kind of interesting detail underneath here, underneath that big giant back skirt. A lot of it's just kind of like hollow space detail, but there's some detail there and it does look pretty good. Once it's all painted, it should look pretty nice. Back to the legs, those can, like I said, go all the way up, all the way forward, rotate at the top, give you a nice double joint there in the knee, giving you some nice separation with this knee armor part, and this part actually slides out and there's some nice detail inside there. So just to show you that once again, when you bend the knee, that part slides out like that. So the legs are pretty cool. Just the design, the shape of them is kind of goofy for me. I don't really like these bell bottoms on the feet. But the part separation is all pretty good. This is a seam line kind of, but I think you could get away with just leaving that there and not actually removing that seam line on that. Just calling it a panel line. That'd be totally up to you though. And then here are the ankles. You have some pretty nice movement side to side. That blue part on the top of the foot as well, that's also a sticker. That blue strip on the top of the foot. The feet can go forward to there, back to there, so pretty good movement there in the feet. Some interesting detail in here. It's like the back skirt. It's just a bunch of hollow space basically, but the way that they've just kind of separated that out, it does look like some pretty nice detail. And once that's all painted, it'll look pretty good. Bottom of the feet as well, full detail there. So that's always nice to see on an HG kit. Not always the case. So overall, in terms of the articulation and details of everything, it's all pretty good. It's got a good range of articulation and quite a bit of detail there. As far as the accessories, it's got this hand club, it's called. So just this will plug onto the back skirt there. It's the same connection point that the Hyakuren uses, so you can use that with that if you want. Same with the Ikija. So all of like the Turbine's mobile suits all use that same connection point. You can mix and match the weapons if you want. Very easily just holds that in the hand, and that's it. It's pretty simple. Then we also have the handgun. I really like the design of this gun. This is a really cool design. I wish we had two of these. That would have been really cool if this included two of these in there, so you could have double handguns. I'm not really a big fan of handguns, really, to be honest, but these are like almost like submachine gun kind of handguns looking, like automatic handguns. I don't know really what I'm talking about when it comes to guns, but I could do with two of these. And that's it for the weapons, though. But we do have a bunch of leftover parts from the Hyakuren, and included in those is the weapons of the Hyakuren. So you have the Hyakuren's rifle you can use. Unfortunately, it's not Amida's custom rifle. I like that one better, but this is just the standard Hyakuren rifle. And you also have the Hyakuren sword. So that just comes out there like that. This can be stored onto the back skirt like that. So that's pretty cool. You also have these like hand, I forget what these are called, but basically like hand guards that you can use for like basically punching. Nowhere to actually store these on the kit, but if you did want to have these actually like held in the hands, you could use them if you want. So it's just worth noting that these are extra parts that you might want to keep and use for this kit or for other kits, something if you want, before throwing them away. So just keep that in mind. So for this being a pretty ugly kit, I do have to say it has a lot of charm to it. So this is a kit that, in terms of just its overall look and design, was something that I was just not really looking forward to, just because I don't really care for the design of this kit. But this is one of those occasions where actually building the kit and being able to just hold it and pose it like in my hands has really changed my mind about the whole thing. And I just, I like a kit that has good weapons, good details, solid posing options, some nice articulation, and this kit has all of that. So that actually makes me like the kit a lot more than I initially did. So that's great. I think if I had to compare this to another kit in the HG Armblood Orphans line, would be the EO Frame Shiden. That's another design that I like certain aspects of it, and then just a few aspects of that design I just don't really care for as much. But that is similar to this kit in that it's just kind of a really basic kit. There's not really anything too crazy about it, but it's just a nice solid kit, great weapons, great articulation, and all of that. So this one I think is one of those as well. So if that is something that you look for in a kit, then maybe don't be like me and just kind of overlook it, but give it a chance, because I think you might actually come to like this one like I have. As far as any negative points concerning the kit, I mean, yeah, those couple of large stickers on there are a little bit disappointing, but it is an HG kit, so those aren't too bad. I think, could those have been separate parts? Yeah, maybe, but those also won't be the most difficult parts to mask. If you are going to be painting that. I mean, that's even if you're going to be sticking with the original colors. You don't even have to paint those a different color if you want. So that's not really a big, huge thing for me. Seam lines, this kit has a couple, but those are also really not anything that I would really worry too much about. I mentioned about the thigh, in that I think that removing the seam line on the thigh would be just kind of basically optional if you really wanted to or not. The only other seam line that I would really mention is on the shoulder armor. That shoulder armor has a seam line down the middle of that as well. But that would be super easy, super easy. It's just one big flat piece there, just glue, and sanding that is about the easiest seam line that you can possibly have. Of course, there's seams on the weapons as well, but that's very standard for an HG kit. So overall, like seams and stickers are some of the things that will usually be kind of like negative, like the biggest negative points, the most obvious negative points for an HG kit. And this kit, they're not really all that bad. So this kit really doesn't have too much in the way of negative things about it, really. I mean, I do kind of wish it had open hands, as usual. I mean, that's just kind of a common thing that I just wish that maybe it came with at least one open hand. But I think you could probably use, if you have like the, what is that, the HG Jigen Build Knuckles round. These hand covers aren't exactly round, but you could use those round hand covers, and I think they work perfectly fine. Then you could have a nice full set of closed fists, open hands, and holding hands for this. Speaking of holding hands, this one, it holds the handgun fine, but for the club, it's a little bit loose in the hand, so you'll just have to be a little bit careful when you're posing that. You just have to set it at an angle where it can hold it fine without that kind of rattling around in the hand a little bit. So overall, I'm very pleasantly surprised with this kit, very happy with it. I think it's a much better kit than I was expecting, and that's always good. That's always exciting when you get a kit that's just kind of, it goes beyond your expectations for it. So definitely check this kit out if you think that it looks at all interesting to you. It's definitely, I think, a really nice HG Armblood Orphans kit in a line that does have quite a few nice kits, but this one is definitely one that's worth checking out. So if you guys do have any other questions or comments, of course you can leave those down below. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see, there's very few designs, I think really only like one or two maybe designs from season 1 that never got an HG release. If those actually ever do come out, who knows, but probably not. This is probably the last and final thing that we'll ever see out of season 1 in the HG line, but who knows. Anyway, there is just one last thing that I wanted to try here, so let me just do a little bit of part swapping here. Ta-da! Here we are. Here's my mashup of the Rouei and the Hyakuren, taking off, replacing some of the parts that I didn't really care too much for of the Rouei, replacing those with parts from the Hakuren, for example, the lower legs, the side skirts, and the shoulders. And I think it looks much better. Obviously, the colors don't match, we'll need some painting, but this is just for an example. I would still like to replace the head as well, and there's other things I might like mix and match, but again, this is just for example as something to show to you guys that you have to remember that a lot of the Iron Blood Orphans kits are very just like plug and play. They're all using a lot of the similar joints. Like these ones are a little bit more unique just because the Hakuren and the Rouei are using the same joints, but not really any other kits do use these same joints as these particular kits. But a lot of the kits in the line do share the same joint parts as other kits, so that means that they're really easy to interchange parts. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. This is something that I've been planning to do for a while and I just haven't got around to it, but I'm planning to do a whole video about just showing just some different examples of some mixing and matching different parts you can do to make some different customs using different mobile suits from the HG Iron Blood Orphans line, but I'll have to get around to that whenever I can find the time. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this review video. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.